Big g'day, welcome to another edition of the RDFNL Footy Show. Looking ahead to round 15, thanks to On Time Delivery Solutions. My name's Yeendy, I'm joined by Tara Murray from the Star Weekly. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, we're going to go right off the rank with the best game of the weekend, and we hope it's an absolute classic one. It's Diggers Rest and Romsey. Now, we're going to have some excitement on the actual game itself, but the day is going to be overshadowed, I think, by something else that's probably a bit more exciting on the bigger scale of things.
It is. Diggers Rest is again hosting an International Cup match. They hosted one in 2014. Last time they had the International Cup. Last time it was Indonesia and France. This time they've got Indonesia and China coming out. And I know the Indonesians had a real good time last time and they were keen to come back out to Diggers Rest. So they're coming out there. The game's going to be played at 12 o'clock. So
on the main oval? On
the main oval. So the reserves game has been moved to 10 o'clock. So you've got the under-18s and the reserves both playing at the same time, one on the second oval, one on the main oval. And then they're going to have a function afterwards, and I know a few presentations and all that. They're getting a few of the local schools involved as well. So pretty big day down there for Diggers Rest.
I remember that 2014 fixture very well. Indonesia, that was simply outclassed by France that day, but everyone was cheering on the kick goals, and I think the closest they got for the whole tournament was as a competition as a whole. They had a shot that from about 15 metres out that hit the post. But they were effectively like Jamaica in cool runnings. Like everyone was just getting behind them, just cheering them for any sort of success, and it's great to see they are coming back, and as you said, they enjoyed it last time. So urge everyone to get down there on the day. There's going to be plenty of media sort of coverage. We'll be covering on Highlands FM. We'll be starting that coverage from about 11 a.m, and there'll be some streaming services as well, which you can see on the AFLgoldfields.com.au/RDFL page, and there'll be plenty of links there to all the stuff that's going on. So it promises to be a cracker of a day in the lead up, a nice curtain raiser to the mighty clash between Diggers Rest and Romsey. No strangers to facing each other in grand finals. It
is, and obviously I think game of the round, you've got two sides in the top six, and for both sides it's important. For Diggers Rest, they sort of need to win if they're going to get a top two spot. Obviously they've got Macedon in the final round, so they've got a hard run home, and Romsey's got a hard run home as well. They've got Diggers Rest, and then they've got Wallan, who's looking for a finals berth as well. So for both sides this is really important. And obviously earlier in the season Romsey shocked Diggers Rest, and everyone stood up and looked at that result earlier in the season, and it's shown Romsey's shown since they are a side to match, and they're very, very competitive. So you've obviously got that. So it'll be quite an interesting match.
That was a game that really set them up this year, because we knew they had a bit of fairly good pre-season, but to be able to knock off the reigning premiers in what has been one of two losses for them, or three losses for them this year, is certainly massive for them going forward, and they've sort of built on top of that.
And I think, as we've spoken, earlier in the week, that they're very similar sides. Neither have a focal point who's going to kick goals every single week. They spread the goal kickers around. They rely on their midfielders to run forward and kick goals. So it'll be a pretty interesting matchup.
Which way do you see this one going?
I'm going to tip the Boroughs.
Yep.
I think this is the time of year that they seem to fire, and I think they've sort of built towards this. And for them, finals start 2 weeks early.
Yeah. I think the Diggers Rest side will win, but I'm going to tip Romsey on the basis that I think the win would mean more to them, because we know Diggers Rest are outstanding. I think for Romsey to secure their finals berth and pick up another massive scalp along the way, I think it's going to be good in the context of the finals. They know that even if they lose, they'll still be competitive. But I think for the competition, they'll be pushing for third spot. I don't think they'll get there, but I think it's going to be great opportunity for them to make a bigger impression as we head towards finals.
I think for them it's worrying about getting a final spot, not necessarily third spot. It's any final spot at this point, because we know how close it is between those four sides fighting for 3 spots.
Yeah, definitely right there. We've got another big game. It was Lancefield and Sunbury Kangaroos. A danger game, Tara, in the context of the final series, because we know with Lancefield they had a big win a couple of weeks ago. They're a bit disappointing last week, but the Sunbury Kangaroos, they're riding a bit of a wave at the moment, and they'll be wanting to ride that wave up this week.
Exactly. Sunbury Kangaroos need to win this, otherwise their final hopes are over. They're hanging by a thread as it is, and they're relying on other results, but they have to win this week, and I think they have to win big as well. As we've said previously, percentage could come down to this, so they do have equal best percentage of those 4 teams looking at those 3 spots, but it's about getting confidence back into the side like that. To have a disappointing result the way they did against Melton Centrals, that can be confidence zapping. So they'll be looking for a big win to get some of that confidence back into that side.
Essentially, they need to go out and win by 15 goals this week, and they play Woody and Hesket the following week. They need to go out and win by 12 to 13 goals plus. Just as you say, it's to build that confidence. They've got one of the best forward lines in the competition, and it hasn't quite gone the way that they were hoping for this year. So if that forward line can gel this week against the Lancefield side, who've got loads of potential, then that'll be good for them.
Yeah, and it is. And I think we've spoken about, everyone thought Sunbury Kangaroos had the easy run home. You have Melton, Centrals, Lancefield, Wood and Hesket in the run home. They've already dropped one of them. If they drop a second one, there'll be a lot of questions what's going on down there at Sunbury.
Yeah, fingers crossed that they can they can sort of get a bit of confidence up, and away they go. Another big game, Wood and Hesket and Rupo. Again, I'm not sold that the Hawks have been displaying the form that I know they're capable of, and I know they know that they're better than what their results have shown. I'd like to think they'll put up a bit of a fight, but Rupo, they bounced back with a vengeance last week. They are in very impressive form.
It is, and obviously for the Sharks, if they win this, it all but nearly steals the top 2 spot. They do have Rockbank in the final round, and I know Rockbank is struggling with a few injuries at this time of year. So for the Sharks, it's about continuing what they're doing. Obviously for them, what they want is in a couple of weeks' time. For them, it's about getting a win come finals. It's just making sure that they maintain that form that they showed on the weekend against Riddell, those final 2 rounds.
Definitely spot on there. Another important game which will be broadcast on OKRFM. We've got Wallan and Broadford.
Your 2 traditional rivals sort of out that way, and obviously, look, on paper it's a one-sided match. Wallan has shown it can put those bottom sides to the sword, and I think they will again.
Yeah. Can you see Broadford sort of trying to get a few positives out of that one?
Obviously, I think it's taken any positives for Broadford every single game. Obviously, they're learning a lot. There is going to be positives. So they'll look at what they can do and what sort of improvement and all of that sort of thing. And
another important game, we've got Riddell and Centrals. This could be an interesting one because the Bombers dropped a game last week, ended an 8-game winning run, and then Centrals had the best win of the season last week.
Yeah, and obviously, I think it is a danger game. And you've got Centrals, I know, who are praying for a bit more rain this week because it sort of suits their game style. So Centrals will take a lot of confidence. I'm expecting the Bombers to bounce back though. For them, it's their finals hopes on the line as well. They've got obviously they've got Broadford in the final round, so a win this week obviously, and you'd think they'll get the win against Broadford, would seal that final spot. Yeah,
exactly. All these games are going to be very, very crucial, and we've got Macedon Rockbank.
It is, and I sort of feel sorry for Rockbank. They've had the hardest run home. They had Diggers Rest last week. They've got Macedon this week and Rupertswood in the final round. So you've got a team that came off 0 wins last season and a tough end to the season. I know they've struggled a little bit with injuries. Probably the last month they've sort of lost that depth, and obviously when you've got young players coming through, they are going to tire towards the end of the season. So hopefully the Rockbank can be competitive and all of that, but then we've seen what Macedon can do to those bottom sides. The case against Broadford last week.
Yeah.
Could be another result like that.
Definitely. And Macedon's top 2, I reckon they're safe, regardless of what happens in round 16 against Diggers Rest. But if they can get a little bit of percentage here, they certainly got a massive percentage boost on the weekend that'll sort of keep them up there. I think they're well clear of Rupertswood on that front there. So
yeah, I think percentage wise they're 277, Rupertswood's 249, and then you've got Diggers that's 212. So they've got a substantial percentage boost. So even if they do lose that final round to Diggers Rest, you'd think percentage-wise would still keep them a top 2 spot.
You're looking at the games this weekend, and then the games the following weekend. We've got we've still got Romsey, Wallan, Sunbury Kangaroos, and Riddell. Who misses out?
It's going to come down to that Wallan Romsey game. If you look at where sides are on the ladder, Wallan will get a win this week. Romsey will get a loss.
Yep.
So that's sort of going to bring that back, and you'd think Sunbury Kangaroos and Riddell would get a win as well. So that would bring Romsey on 40 points, Wallan on 40 points, Sunbury Kangaroos on 36. And so you'd have 3 teams on 40 points,
yep,
and Sunbury Kangaroos on 36, and you've got 2 of those teams playing each other in Wallan and Romsey. It could come down to that match.
And Riddell's poor percentage could come back to hurt them as well because they're way off the mark.
It is, but then they've got 2 easy. You pencil them in for 2 wins. Yeah. That's the thing with obviously Romsey aren't penciled in for 2 wins, and neither are Wallan. So it would be quite an interesting final 2 rounds. Should
be fascinating should the Centrals pull off another upset and really upset the apple cart. I think it'll throw everyone's plans into disarray at this stage.
I think it would. I think it'd be quite interesting, make even the final rounds even more interesting.
Exactly, which is what we want as neutral fans. We want to see it go down to the wire like we did in 2016. Thanks to On Time Delivery Solutions, and thanks to you, Tara. Thanks so much for joining us this week on the RDFNL Footy Show.
Thanks for having me.